Hello students. Now today we start lesson number 5 from our supplementary book Movement, The Happy Prince. Now this story is about a happy prince. It was a beautiful statue. He was covered with gold. He had sapphire for his eyes and a ruby in his sword. So why did he want to part with all the gold that he had and his precious stones? So there one question comes from. यहाँ पर एक क्वेश्चन पूछा है कि हैप्पी प्रिंस का जो स्टैचू है, एक बहुत सुंदर स्टैचू है जो कवर है पूरा गोल्ड से, उसकी दोनों आंखों में सफायर्स लगे हुए हैं एंड रूबी इन हिज सॉर्ड हिल्ट, उसके जो तलवार है उसके हिल्ट पे रूबी लगी हुई है. तो उसने इन सारी चीज़ों का क्या किया? जो प्रीशियस स्टोन है उसकी बॉडी पे और जो पार्ट गोल्ड है उसका क्या किया? सो व्हेन यू रीड दिस लेसन यू नो ऑल अबाउट इट. सो टुडे आई समराइज द स्टोरी टू यू. नाउ फर्स्ट आई एक्सप्लेन यू द स्टैचू ऑफ हैप्पी प्रिंस. नाउ द स्टैचू ऑफ द हैप्पी प्रिंस was placed on a tall pillar. It was covered with gold leaves. It had a large ruby on the sword handle and the two precious blue stones in place of eyes. The prince was not all lifeless. He was very sensitive to the sufferings of his people. As long as he was alive, he lived in his palace. Now he never came in contact with the poor and the weak, but from that tall column, he was able to see the misery of the poor artisans and writers. He shed tears but could not rush personally to their help. So he was called Happy Prince by his courtiers. But it was a misnomer. He was actually very unhappy at heart. It was made of a hard metal lead, but it was very soft and kind. So this is the description of the happy prince. Here one swallow took shelter under the statue on his way to Egypt. So one night a little swallow bird flew over the city. He was on its way to Egypt where the sun shone bright. His friend had already left from that warm region. He was left behind. Now he needed a place to spend the night. He found the place between the feet of the prince suitable for him. You see here there is a bird who find the place to sitting here. Now as he sat there, a big drop of water fell on him. He sat here, a big drop of water fell on him. Now he wondered how the drop came from a cloudless clear sky. Soon a second and then a third drop fell on him. Now he looked up and saw that the prince was weeping. Now he was filled with pity for the prince. Now the prince and the swallow became good friends. The prince asked him to do his job. The job was to help a poor seamstress, thin and tired. She was embroidering flower on a royal gown. You see here in this picture. Her little boy was ill and thirsty. He was asking for oranges, but the poor mother could give him only river water. Now he was crying. The prince requested the bird to pick out the ruby from his sword and take it to that poor woman. Now the bird was in a fix. He was to reach Egypt soon. Now secondly, he was afraid of the little boys who threw stones at him. But seeing the sadness of the prince, he agreed to do as desired. Now the swallow put the ruby on the table. You look here. The swallow put up the ruby. Now take it to the poor woman. The bird ruby out the sword and flew over the town. He passed by the palace and the church. He looked into the poor woman's room. A boy was tossing restlessly on the bed. Now he put the ruby on the table, you see in this picture, and fanned the boys. Here he fanned the boy forehead and with his wings. Now the boy felt cool and much better. The bird felt warm in spite of severe cold. Now the reason was that he had done a good deed. So students, in this video I explain you that what the happy prince do with his ruby. In next video I explain you what he did with the 2 sapphires and the gold which is covered in his body.